Who's got it better than you?
I know the answer to that one. Nobody!
The origin story is being about 7 years old. John was, 8 or 8.5, and Dad was going to drive us to school.
And we didn't have a heater in the car, and the windows would frost up, so we had to roll the windows down, and we're in the back seat all bundled up, and we're like freezing and chattering. He looks at us and he goes, "Who's got it better than you two guys?" And we're just like, what? Are you kidding me? Somebody with a heater in their car, probably, Dad.
Who has it better than us?
Exciting times in LA. There is a major culture change. We overuse this word so much in the football world whenever a new coach gets a job. But Alex, you played for Jim Harbaugh out there in San Francisco. What should these Chargers players expect? How is he going to change this culture in LA?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should be incredibly excited. I mean, this guy is one of the best coaches I've ever been around. And he does exactly that. Like, listen, it's not all about X's and O's. It's so much about culture and mindset that he brings. And listen, he changed my career, right? I'll never forget the first time I met him. Listen, I was getting set to be a free agent. My contract was up. I hadn't played well the year before. I thought I was moving on. My wife was expecting our first child, though, so I was still coming in the building and working out, trying to, just come in early in the mornings and leave. And I run into Jim, and he starts sizing me up, right? And then he has me put up my hand, and he puts his hand up next to mine, and he's like checking on my hand size, and he says, "Hey, you want to go play catch?" And I'm like, "Sure, Jim, let's go play catch." I have nothing to lose. So he tapes up his pinky, and we go out and we start playing catch. And next thing you know, Sam, he starts throwing it harder at me, right? And he's kind of like egging me on. So I start, throwing it back naturally. Next thing you know, I mean, we're sitting here 15 yards away playing pepper at each other. I mean, we are humming it as hard as we can. And he has this big grin on his face. He loves football. Yeah. He loves everything about football. And that kind of led to this. We started playing catch a bunch, and all of a sudden I got a contract and I'm back. And he did. He had a profound impact on my career. And he's got all these Harbaugh'isms, the who's got it better than us. We just heard in the story. But certainly there are a couple that stick out to me. He would always talk about more is more, Sam. Less is not more. Oh. More is more. And
what does that mean? Like more practice? More reps. More
right.
reps.
And so he had come from the college ranks where traditionally in college you practice on separate fields, offense on one field, defense on one field. Well, that doesn't happen in the pros, right? On the pros you practice together. So offense goes for 10 and then you sit back and relax while the defense takes theirs. Well, we came in and he reorganized everything. We split up reps and he used to keep track. We'd have 200 plus reps in a day and he'd brag about nobody in the league was doing more than us, right? And more is more. And so he's a great coach. Listen, and this is a guy that benched me. Right, and traded me.
You speak very glowingly of a man who benched you.
I'd go play for him in a heartbeat.
I've had conversations with Jim in recent years as he was mulling whether to make the jump to the NFL. And I remember talking about specific players. I remember one time he said to me, as we were talking about a particular player, he goes, "Let me ask you a question. Does he love football?" And I said, "I believe he does, Jim." And he said, "Then we're going to get along great." And that ultimately is all he really cares about, whether somebody loves football. Because he loves football, and everywhere he's been, he's transformed that place. Whether it was at San Diego, whether it was at Stanford, the 49ers, Michigan, everywhere he's gone, he's turned that team or program around. And John Harbaugh, the Ravens head coach, his brother, said to me a couple of weeks ago that there's not a better team builder in all of football than Jim Harbaugh. Now, is he biased? Well, it's his brother, of course. But you can't argue the results. Now, how long he'll last in a certain place is a different discussion. But everywhere he goes, he improves, they win, they're better off. And the Chargers have been a medium, pedestrian, average franchise for a long time.
Underachieving.
They're swinging big.
Yep.
They're swinging big because of his track record, and they're hoping that he does for them what he's done for others.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a big question about the football side of things. I think everybody would agree with the stuff you guys are saying. But there is that other element to Jim that I remember during the national championship run this year, his dad, Jack, kind of got upset about. It bothered him that everybody would call Jim quirky. But anybody who spent time around Jim Harbaugh knows he's a different dude. He marches to the beat of his own drum. When you look at what he's going into in LA, Alex, with all these young guys, we were just talking about it in the last segment. How do you think he will relate to these young players in the unique way that he does?
I think that's what makes Jim great, is that, I mean, people call it quirky or whatever. He's different. He does think differently. He's outside the box. He doesn't just do things the way they've done because that's the way they've been done. And listen, when Jim came into my life as my career, I was the #1 pick, and I struggled with my own self-doubt and insecurities about whether I was deserving of the pick. I was haunted by the term bust, right? And Jim came in, and listen, this is a guy that played 15 years of the quarterback position. He coached me every single play, every day. He'd have the same saying he would say before we took the field every single game. He would say, play as hard as you can, as fast as you can, for as long as you can, and don't worry. His 2 last words that he would say to the team were, don't worry. And I thought he was talking directly to me because I had spent the 6 years prior to that, worrying, right?
Yeah.
Consumed in my own self-doubt and thoughts. And again, he made it all about football. And here's a guy coming from the college ranks. He knows these guys. He can connect with them, and he's authentic. And I think that's what's most important. He's so comfortable with who he is. He tucks his sweatshirt into his pleated khakis.
Why not?
He doesn't care what people think.
And he's been waiting for this. He's been waiting to go back to the NFL to get another crack to try to win the Super Bowl that he's never gotten.
Yes, it seemed like the right opportunity clearly for him to be able to have a guy like Justin Herbert, who everybody's just been waiting for him to have this kind of coach with him to see what he does with this team. But let's be honest, this team has a lot of issues. They got cap issues, they've got talent issues, they had defensive issues. There's a lot to figure out in LA this year. I'm excited to see if he can do it.